I'm saying now is, I'm going to take you through doing this for layers, yes? For layers, where now we have waves moving up and down above, and we're predicting the source and receiver. Understood? There's a layered medium. So, we are no longer removing the multiples and migrating the primaries. We're now migrating primaries and multiples. That's just not the case. So here's this form. Let's, how do we get?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So you're trying to formulate this for a general inhomogeneous case.
Yes.
And in that case, every single point everywhere acts as both a source of incoming and outgoing energy.
Yes.
When you're propagating through it. And that's what you mean by the up-down here, is that right?
Right. In other words, I mean two kinds of things. In other words, it could be, in other words, usually when we say two-way, we mean this. You know, like overthrust. Yes? That's fine. And then go back up. So that's certainly what I had in mind at the beginning when I was thinking of this. Do a Claerbout III that arranges this. Yes? But now I want more than that, because I want, however we're saying this, did that, and back, I want at every point that this is not moving down, that this is moving down and up. In other words, if you, in other words, in a homogeneous medium, a wave moves down and then down, okay? As soon as I deviate anything from homogeneous, if I assume it's moving down, I've made a high frequency approximation. I'm trying to do what we can to avoid that in how we implement this imaging principle. So this whole, so this is basically what you were saying.
Yeah. So I guess the thing that's confusing me then is when I look at your picture on the board with the upper boundary and the lower
This one?
boundary. Now the one with the green function,
Oh, yes.
the up-down arrows, it's like that's only really there since every instant and every small delta you move, you generate more up and down. And for each time you do that, there's no smooth wave propagation. It's more complicated than that everywhere. So this kind of a boundary and all of that, it shrinks down to infinitesimals, really.
Well, let's say you have whatever the complex is here. Yeah? What I'm saying is, we've got to go get a Green's function, a solution to a differential equation for that medium, such that it is a Green's function, but has these conditions here. Yes? Those are not natural conditions.
But are you assuming within that boundary is homogeneous?
No. In other words, the Green's function itself satisfies the properties of propagation in that heterogeneous medium, and how you calculate that Green's function makes no one-way assumption at any point. So you have to be very scrutinous of the numerics, and that's what Professor Feng Lu is leading. That's non-trivial, yes, to assure that, yes. So the imaging principle itself, you'll see, if you have no problem, it's just homogeneous, doesn't have, let me be clear, if you do Claerbout II with homogeneous, Claerbout II, and you take one source and receiver and ask for the output, you get an ellipse. You get an ellipse. That tells you, you do one source and one receiver for Claerbout III, you get a blob. Not candidates. It's not enough to predict the receiver, you need to integrate. But it's not, it's trying to make an image, you understand? It's trying to make a determination about something. So that fact, this says, when you take this back and take the source field forward, as soon as you do that in any way, you got an ellipse. And ellipse means high frequencies ended. And so that was understood. What we didn't understand until recently is, can you quantify what that difference is? Can you quantify what that will mean on the image? That's what you're going to see tomorrow. Quantifying the resolution issues there, yes? Because you say that's high frequency, the other one isn't, so what? I wasn't sure. I was surprised at how big a difference it was. Yeah? In other words, you know, sort of theoretically, but can you put numbers to pictures, yes, the differences? What it means is, when you add low frequency, in other words, if you have a certain bandwidth, 10 to 50 hertz, you get, on your data, you get a certain ringing, certain lobes, yes? As you give me more low frequency, those lobes will shift and decrease, yes? So we looked at the migration result. How, because the data you can see does that, yes? Just the data. Now, what happened in the migration to those lobes? And you see 2 RTM had a much less effective lobe reduction compared to 3, which is because of that. So anyway, that's not, but right now, I want to just show you, maybe I'll draw, here's a primary, yes? And so, please understand that formula, wherever it came from. This is very important. See this formula? Brings the source down. Here's your data in here, right? And this is not a big deal at all, because it could be running around inside the earth, yes? But when we get it in the receiver, we deghost it. And once it's deghosted, it's one way, yes? We were deghosting before we migrate, yes? So getting a derivative is the IKZ or something, times the data, yes? So, but my point is, this is a linear expression. So if you have some event in your data, primary and multiple, this thing is not doing anything nonlinear. You understand? This is an integral on. It does something, bring the receiver down, or it does something, bring the source down, but it didn't take P times itself. Yes? My point being, if you have an event in P, it's going to linearly become an event at depth. Let me repeat that. If you have an event in your measured data, and now you're predicting this thing in the Earth, the source and receiver, one event here is going to become one event in the predicted experiment, because the events are not talking to each other, yes? Each event gets transformed, yes? That's the key to understand the pictures I'm about to show you. Because the math is, with all going through layers, is covered, but to understand what's going on is simple. Okay? So here's a primary. How does the movie go, Chuck? So in other words, what we're saying is, here's the actual measured primary, yes? And then you predict it. So the measured primary predicts, one event measured. So what you're seeing here is a cartoon, a movie of the Claerbout III experiment, yes? It was measured, now predicted. So when you predicted right above, that original primary here became transformed into a primary here, which at time equals 0 gets you some R1 or something, yes? So let's move on to multiples with it. So here is an example of a primary and a free surface multiple, yes? Now, you see that movie means it's being predicted, you understand? The math, there are papers that tell you about that. But the point is, each event gets, in the original, moves linearly to some event at depth. They don't, okay? Because of the linear nature of what's acting on the events. So, is there an eraser? We never make mistakes, we don't need an eraser. Good thinking.
But you mentioned that each point is a point de facto, kind of, it's like,
Yes.
is that correct? So each point along the path is a point de facto.
Right, that's for heterogeneous. But
Yes.
let me just show this.
Okay.
That's definitely true. I just wanted to, there's a movie here, but in other words, imagine you have one reflector, here's a source and receiver, here's a free surface, yes? So you have, just let's look at two events, this event and this event. And watch the experiment as it goes down, yes? When it goes down, that's what that thing was doing. When it's over here, just, you have here, this primary became this primary. And this multiple is that. This, the multiple that was this, it just continuously becomes another event in your new experiment, yes? In your predicted experiment. So that when you're down over here, right above this, this primary transformed into this primary, yes? And the multiple is that. Now you ask, make the source and receiver coincident, ask for t equals 0, which is going to contribute, just this primary. So the primary in the data, in the original data, is what contributes to the image. I could have that multiple in, or have that multiple out, won't matter. But what do I need? I need discontinuous velocity. In other words, over here, let's say, I put an internal multiple or something. In other words, the point is, if you had a discontinuous velocity, ability to do discontinuous velocity, then you don't need to take multiples out. I'll repeat that. If you can do, not everywhere, just to your target, yes? If you're not below the target, just a discontinuous velocity and the image, then you can stop removing all multiples. They'll never cause you a problem. The reason you need to remove multiples is we put a smooth velocity. And with a smooth velocity, every multiple will go where the smooth velocity told you to go. Yes? And will give you a false image. If we are ever at a stage where we can give an accurate discontinuous velocity, you will never need to remove a multiple again. Now with Claerbout III. Yes? So, in other words, here's two of these, and here's a source and receiver. So you have this primary, and then you look at this internal multiple. Let's say. When you move it down to here, this primary becomes this primary, and the internal multiple is this, and this primary is here. And same over here. This over here, when it's over here, this second primary becomes this. The first primary becomes this. And that internal is this. So the only thing that contributes at the second reflector is what the second primary would do. You understand? So if you use Claerbout III and you give me an accurate discontinuous velocity, we can shut down all SRME, internal multiple, and we're out of business. Okay? What keeps us in business is smooth. Okay? So that's the bottom line. So what are people talking about in terms of using multiples? Let me explain. Because there is value. yes? They're not migrating multiples, but it definitely has a use. And Chow Ma will show you further details. If you have adequate collection of primaries, yes, then that's all you need. But let's say, as in the real world, you don't. There's actually, yes, limited. So then this is what happens. So before we go on to this, if you're in the world of primaries and you have a smooth velocity model, which is typical sometimes at top salt, we try to make it discontinuous, but that's not normal, yes? Normally it's smooth. Even if we work very hard to find it, at the end we lose our courage and we smooth it, yes? Because you're betting very high when you put discontinuous, yes? When we migrate, we smooth, yes? As long as you migrate with smooth, you gotta get the multiples out. Okay? Otherwise you're gonna get false images. Clear? Give me a smooth velocity, every event will go with that. So here's how people use multiples, yes? Let's say you have a multiple like this. I'll make a free surface one, yes? This is to prep ourselves for Chow Ma showing you more detail. So imagine that this primary, let's say, let's call it primary 1, yes? This primary was not recorded. It's missing in your acquisition. And you want some approximate image of it, yes? So, and imagine that they measured this, that you recorded the multiple, yes? Number 1, you recorded the multiple. Second, you recorded this primary like this, that went down to here, meaning you source the ghosted, but you in particular did not, you kept the ghost on the receiver, yes? So, yes, so because you want it down here at this receiver, because you want it to be acting like a source. So what you do is, if you have this multiple and you have this event, they do C2, Claerbout II. They take this back, yes? They take this with this down as like, I'll take the source field forward. They don't bring the source down. They take it forward, as in C2, and they look at the time-space coincidence to get an approximate image of that time. That is valuable, yes? It is not C3, and it's not a real primary, yes? Nothing beats real primaries. If you're after high-end Stolt extended C3, you need a primary, okay? You can't, understood. But that's for structure. You'll see field data examples in a second. It has value. You're not migrating this multiple. You're looking for an approximate image of a primary. That's always what you're after. So for people who say they're making use of multiples, they're exactly right. For them to say we're migrating primaries and multiples, that's exactly wrong. Okay? Because if multiples and primaries are on the same level, in other words, they actually say we don't need to remove them anymore. Okay? You understand, it goes too far. There's a political correctness to bring multiples in, yes, inclusiveness and all, but it goes too far to say that this event and a real primary, if you had this real primary, you should covet it, you know? This is not a replacement for that. This is an approximate image of an unrecorded primary. Better than not having any. You understand? It's having a measured view of the value it represents. That's my view. Okay, with that, our last talk today, Chow Ma is actually going to show you more detail about this process. Chow, look forward to your... and he interned at PGS when they do this.